Hello class, this is Mr. Eggleston, and this is the Check Your Understanding for lesson 4.1, as indicated by this title right here. The quick notes, I talked about it last discussion, the last video. This is just Check Your Understanding, because that's what this is. So I'm just going to go through how you solve. This should be short video. I just want to reiterate, a system of linear equations consists of at least two related equations. The solution to the system is the xy ordered pair that satisfies both equations. Basically, it's the point where equations cross, or the lines cross. Okay, the intersection point represents where two equations have the same input and output. It can be interpreted as a break-even point, as we'll see in some of the examples or some of the problems you're going to be working on, an equilibrium point, which is a fancy way of saying break even, more or less, or a solution to the system of constraints to find algebraically set quantities equal to each other and solve for the input. So on the Check Your Understanding, it's talking about Mrs. Streeter needs 50 pieces of candy to fill her candy jar. That's one thing you have to pay attention to, especially if you were asked to write the equations. Here, they give you the equations and they give you the graphs. A fun-sized candy bar costs 32 cents, and a roll of Smarties costs 12 cents, and she has $10 to spend, all right? So here's the graphs. This right here is an equation that represents the total money spent, the $10, and this is the money spent on both the Smarties and the candy bars. X is the candy bars, as it says down here, fun-sized candy bars, and Y are the rolls of Smarties. So this 0.32 times X is the money spent on candy bars. 0.12 times Y is the money spent on Smarties. Add them up, it has to equal 10. So that's how we got this equation. You would have graphed this probably by looking for the intercepts, letting y equals 0 and solving for x, which would give you the x-intercept, and then letting x equals 0 and solving for y, which will give you the y-intercept. Okay, and the other equation right here, x plus y equals 50, is just the constraint or the equation that says you need to buy 50 pieces of candy. All right. So now, what is a combination of Smarties? So we're looking at this. A combination of Smarties and candy bars that fills the jar and fits the budget. There's only one point that both fills the jar, which means it's on this line. It fills the jar, and it fits the budget, which means it has to be on this line. And the only point is the intersection point, C. So the answer is C. The next statement is a combination of Smarties and fun-sized candy bars that is not possible at all given the constraints, which implies it cannot be on the constraint of the money because it doesn't satisfy that constraint, nor can it be on the constraint of the number of candy bars. There's only one point that's not on either, and that's D. Okay. A combination of Smarties and fun-sized candy bars that fits the budget. Remember, this is the budget right here. That's the budget, so it has to be on this line. And but overfills the jar. So here's the budget. Point B is on the budget, but it's above this line here, which dictates the number of candy bars that can fill the jar. So this point B is the answer. It would fit the budget, but overfill the candy jar. A combination of Smarties and fun-sized candy bars that fills the jar. Okay, that's on this line, the x plus y equals 50, because that's all the combinations that would fill the candy jar, the jar. The fills the jar, but is not possible with the budget. Well, this is definitely above budget. Okay, this point right here. All right, so it is point A. How many fun-sized candy bars should Ms. Stetcher buy? Explain. How many fun-sized candy bars and rolls of Smarties? Well, since we know this is the solution we want, and it definitely says we need 20 fun-sized candy bars, so we need 20 fun-sized candy bars. Now, since we know that they'll have 50, we can use the fact that there's 20 fun-sized X is 20 in that equation, solve for y, which is 50 minus 20. So y must be 30. So it's going to be, so this is x equals 20, y equals 30, okay? So it was 20 fun-sized candy bars and 30 rolls of Smarties. And that's the idea for this, all right? Again, we can see from this graph right here, from this intersection point, that's right here at x equals 20. So that's x is the fun-sized candy bars, so that tells you need 20 fun-sized candy bars. Well, if there's 20 fun-sized candy bars, then you know you have to have a total of 50. Obviously, it must be 30 rolls of Smarties. In other words, you can write the solution as an order pair 20, 30. Okay? And there you go. Because 20, 30 is on both lines. Is on both lines. And thus meets both constraints, or both constraints. Constraints is just restrictions on the numbers. Constraints. Okay. So there you go. All right, that's it. Thank you. Bye-bye.